Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Do I regret pitching my and promise to end my campaign with my closing argument? I believe then that my final argument will be a pitch on why you should vote for me. But alas, as we prepare to vote in the next 48 hours, I am forced to accept the sad reality that there's no pathway towards victory for Ahmed and I. Ahmed, please come. I will therefore make a different argument today, and it is the case for a Nigeria that works for everyone. Before I do this, I would like to thank Ahmed for not only agreeing to run with me, but for his dedication and total loyalty. I went looking for a VP and found a brother. I want to thank our wives, Ikeme and Miriam, who have been tolerant, supportive, and patient. They endured a lot of sleepless nights hearing us strategize on how to stop Ralph Nwosu and his gang from selling us out. Ahmed and I would like to thank our mommy, Senator Mrs. Patricia Akwashiki, the state chairman of our party, candidates and party members who stood by the constitution of our party and refused to sell out. Doing the right thing is never easy. They all did what was right even in the face of being expelled from the party or losing their tickets. There are those who sold out, and it speaks to their character. Whenever you see any candidate running on the platform of one party and promoting the candidate of another party, then you know someone who lacks character. They seek shortcuts. They want to get into office at any and all costs, but they have failed the first test of leadership, which is loyalty. We must never support or vote such candidates into office. Don't let them deceive you. If they can betray their parties, they will betray the public trust. I want to especially thank our team led by my Chief of Staff, Amina Onyilade, for all their hard work and dedication. A special shout out to our supporters all over the country and across the world. Thank you for all your love and support through this turbulent journey. Last but never the least, we say thank you to our mothers. There's nothing like a mother's love and prayers. Their prayers brought us this far. Outside of the Nigerian Civil War, the last 8 years under the APC government has been the toughest period ever for Nigerians since independence. As President Buhari prepares to hand over, he's unleashing more pain and misery on Nigerians with the misguided recoloring of the naira. He and his advisors believe that this will limit the undue advantage that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has with a huge war chest to buy over voters. What they have inadvertently done is to make it easier for the APC candidates, as millions of voters will be unable to exercise their democratic franchise because of cash constraints. Most of those affected by this will be the Labour Party supporters. The odds therefore favor the APC government to continue in power. How, you might ask? It is very simple. The APC structure that brought in Buhari 8 years ago still brought him back 4 years ago, even though most Nigerians were united in saying he wouldn't come back. Today, the PDP, which is the main opposition party, has been successfully divided into three: PDP, Labour Party, and G5. APC supporters across the country remain intact and are fully committed to ensuring their candidate wins the presidential elections. The candidates of the two leading parties, followed by the Labour Party candidate, all have one thing in common, and that's their previous stints in public service. The APC and PDP candidates have been accused of using that opportunity to create access, opportunities, and wealth for family, friends, and supporters, while the Labour candidate is said to have only catered to his family. This sad reality has therefore reduced their campaigns to "my thief is better than your thief," or "which thief is a lesser thief." The three candidates deliberately avoided debates and instead promoted emotive issues on the campaign trail, while taking advantage of poor Nigerians by paying them to attend their rallies. Nigerians are therefore shortchanged in not hear. Nigerians are therefore shortchanged in not hearing any real arguments or proposals on how we can finally create a nation of committed component parts, all subscribing to a new charter, vision, and constitution. We had no critical conversation on how to create millions of new jobs, secure our nation, balance our budget, and tackle the twin menace of recession and inflation wrecking our economy. They failed to provide specifics on how to create world-class infrastructure, urbanize our cities, stem the rural-urban migration, and reverse the brain drain occasioned by the loss of our middle class who are leaving our country in their thousands. They were silent on all critical issues and instead pandered to ethnic and religious sentiments. The Labour candidate took campaigns to a new low with his church visitations. Have you ever wondered what will happen to our country if Atiku Abubakar and Bola Tinubu made similar visitations to mosques? Our country is fragile, and we must never allow religion play a role in politics. We can't complain about President Buhari and seek to continue on the path of religion and ethnicity with the It's My Turn campaigns. Whereas I subscribe to the argument that the Igbos have not had a fair shake in the Nigerian nation. Most of the blame for this must go to our leaders, who mostly subscribe to self and family as against building their states or region. They failed to capitalize on the entrepreneurial spirit of the Igbo man to create an industrial powerhouse in the southeast that will provide millions of jobs and shared prosperity for our people. I use the word our because I am also an Igbo man. Today, the economy of the southeast is in ruins. Our people live in fear and our leaders have relocated to Abuja and Lagos. When leaders are afraid to defy evil, what do we expect to happen to our communities? We all saw what happened in northeast Nigeria because their leaders failed to stand up to Boko Haram. And we now see the same thing in southeastern Nigeria. This attitude of it is their problem has almost destroyed us. We all have to come together to save Nigeria. Nigerians can't continue to look for a mythic hero or savior when they are unprepared for individual change. Today, our youths are poor, angry, bitter, frustrated, and therefore subject to all forms of manipulation and abuse by desperate politicians. We can't continue to do this to our people. We fail to plan for them but plan to use them. We threaten their future with inexplicable debts. We polarize and divide them with tongue, tribe, and religion. I commend Peter Obi, the Labour candidate, for embracing the youths. This relationship should go beyond the elections into real mentoring for millions of our youths who have lost their way. They mustn't be discarded when elections are won and lost. They must also not be used as a mob to terrorize opponents. My dear Nigerians, I sympathize with you and feel your pain. Words can't express my hurt at what your life has become in the last few weeks. Most of you are confused as some leaders say you must endure this suffering because it helps their chances. It is a tragedy. But we must not give up hope. Even though we are faced with more of the same as our realistic options at this point, we must hold them accountable. We must subscribe to higher ideals. We must learn patriotism and love of nation. We must never again allow proponents of tribe and religion sway us or polarize us. We must reject their wars and embrace peace. As we now consider the three flawed candidates before us, we must also remember that we are also all flawed. We must now look beyond their flaws to their capabilities. We must consider their relationships and associations. We must look at those they are likely to work with and those with them now. Beyond this, we must accept the reality that except northern Nigeria miraculously comes together in the next 24 hours to throw their support for the PDP candidate, the race looks likely to favor the APC candidate. Except the PDP and Labour can reach an agreement in the next 24 hours on how to collaborate to win the elections, any vote for P2B is a vote for Bola Tinubu. PDP and Labour need each other. It is that simple. As true Democrats, the leadership of both PDP and Labour must find a way to work with the other smaller parties towards building a formidable coalition that ensures the contest is even. Any attempt to go this alone guarantees another 4 years for the APC. A word is enough for the wise. I commend and congratulate my friends and fellow presidential candidates, Prince Adewale of the SDP, Shore of the AAC, and Prince Malik Ado Ibrahim of the YPP, for their spirited efforts in ensuring Nigerians are liberated. My dear Nigerians, as you vote, please vote Nigeria before religion and tribe. Vote Nigeria above pecuniary gain. Vote Nigeria above all other considerations, because Nigeria remains the only nation we have. Whichever way the pendulum swings, whichever way the votes go, I assure Nigerians that Ahmed and I remain committed to nation building. We will devote our time and resources towards deepening our democratic culture and practices. Our voices will not relent nor weaken in speaking and advocating for the Nigerian masses. We love you all. Till we meet again, I wish you all well. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Okay, let me clarify what I said.
To make it succinct.
Okay, I believe that my language was very clear in the first paragraph. I said very clearly that there is no pathway we see to victory. So I am not here saying to you guys that if you were to ask me a question, do you think you can still win? And I'll say to you, there's a possibility. I'm saying to you that I don't see any pathway to victory for my party in the race. In saying that, I never said that I am withdrawing from the race. I just said that I don't see a pathway to victory. And in being a true Democrat, when you don't see a pathway to victory, what you are saying is this. In the race we are going into, a vote might make the difference. One vote might make the difference. So it's important for me to let Nigerians know my position in this race and what my chances are. So that those who follow me, those who support me, have the informed decision on what to do, knowing that our party does not have any real chance towards success in the polls. Secondly, I also said that beyond our party not having any real chance, that what we see out there in the field suggests that APC will win if the other parties don't come together. Remember this, Labour has divided PDP and G5 has also further divided them. This means that the PDP that challenged APC 4 years ago, it has been diminished. How then can they take on a united APC? It means that Nigerians must ask the other parties, PDP, Labour, the smaller parties, to come together so that there can be an even contest. In saying this again, I have not in any way suggested that my party, the ADC, plans to be a part of that coalition. I and Ahmed, our interest in running this race was to give Nigerians a different vision of where we could take Nigeria. There are those who are in the race because they seek appointments. That's not what we are looking for. We wanted to chart a new course so Nigerians could hear something different. In building a coalition to take on the APC, I believe that Nigerians need to have two credible options or two options that they can look at and say, we either go in this direction or we go in this direction. at that point, it is the decision of Nigerians to make based on what they see. I'm just saying that Nigerians must make it an even contest. Clear?
I was actually I had not landed when you started responding.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to agree. So which one would you have willing, even if at all? When you have said it, that you are not, but you have given Nigerians like options.
So are you asking who I will vote for?
No, I'm not asking that.
No, you be clear now. That means you're not clear on what you're asking. Be clear on your question.
No.
Okay, I still had you to ask.
Okay, I don't want to say it in such a way that.
Is your question who I will vote for? No, ask yes. It's a yes or no. Is your question who I will vote for? Let me answer you. Is that your question?
No, you are trying to say.
Is that your question? So I can answer you.
Okay, you didn't. Don't worry. It's okay.
No, sir, ask your question. Is that your question? If that's your question.
So what I'm saying is that you actually gave Nigerians 2 options now.
No. Let me clear. First of all, let me deal with your question. I think I'm trying to ask. Who will I vote for? I am on the ballot.
Okay.
I'll vote for myself, definitely. Okay. So that's the answer to that question. You said I gave Nigerians 2 options. What I have said, and I reiterate again, is this. What we see out there, remember, this is subjective, but again, based on at least 2 decades of calling it right in every election we've had in Nigeria, I can tell you that APC has an advantage going into this election. All I'm saying is that Nigerians must have an even contest. To have an even contest, it means that Labour, PDP, and other parties must, in the next 24 hours, come together to be able to take on the APC. Have I clarified what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's all. Bayomi. Very good questions. The issue within my party was monumental and tangential towards where we are right now. But those were not the only issues. We must understand that Nigeria is a peculiar country. Our people who have been in captivity for decades find it difficult to wrestle themselves from captivity. Immediately I emerged as candidate of my party. Nigerian media didn't give me or the other 14 candidates any chance at all in this race. So from day one, I was not fighting my opponents. I was fighting the media who were selling a narrative to Nigerians that there are 4 leading parties. Imagine a situation when I emerged and the Nigerian media, they were pointing and saying there are 4 leading parties and my face and the name of my party was there. Can you imagine that Nigerians, millions, tens of millions of Nigerians will have a different impression of my party and my chances? It's all about subliminal persuasion. The media knows this. The media drives a narrative and drives an agenda. And in this case, the media drove the agenda of those they had known and those they were comfortable with. And this is a tragedy for the Nigerian nation because we keep on complaining about our lot, what has befallen us, but we never give opportunity for fresh ideas, for fresh people, for new people to come in. We challenge them. Anytime I've had press conferences or interviews, I always have the media asking me questions that sometimes seem hostile or rude to a presidential candidate. But those questions they will never ask the so-called 4 leading candidates. So we now have a situation. Nigerians are bereft of proposals or solutions to their many problems. We have not been able to challenge or hear anything critical about what we must do. We are all Nigerians here. In a few days, elections. After that, our reality still stays the same. What happens to the over 60 million unemployed Nigerians? What is the real proposal or solution that any of these candidates has sold to say this is what they must do and they want to create employment for these people? We look at the challenge we're having with security. What did you hear that any of you can identify and say, this is what you expect this candidate to do from day one? Absolutely nothing. We talk of education, talk of security, talk of our infrastructural deficit. In every area we are challenged, we could not really hear anything. This same media watch a situation where Nigeria at this critical point in time in history, there were no real debates. We all watch CNN, we'll see what happens when other nations are having elections, and we'll see what debates are about. In our own case, we had managed media exposures. where speak, you speak. They can't challenge your ideas. And again, Nigerians are shortchanged. This, I say, limited our chances, the media. Number three, the Nigerian people. Nigerian people have been so abused, and because they are abused, they are jaded, and they have this attitude of not trusting. So the only people that they trust are the same people who have abused them, because those are the people they know. When you come as a newcomer, they see you and they are not trusting of you, but they are trusting of those who have abused them. So it's going to take a lot to get these people out of that kind of captivity. So when I look at the mix of these three, this is what I believe affected to a large extent our chances in this race.
Yes, my name is Godwin Bacho, Nigeria. Are you pitching your tent with the People Democratic Party candidate having gone for coalition with the Labour Party and the PDP? Thank you.
I believe I used almost 10 minutes to answer that question. And let me say it again, since you've asked specifically. On Saturday, I'll be voting for ADC, number one. Secondly, I said in the interest of Nigerians, for the sake of fairness and equity, and for us to have an even race, I advanced an argument that PDP, Labour, and other parties should come together so that they can give APC a real fight. Remember, 4 years ago, a lot of people believed that PDP was going to win that election. When the results came, we saw something different. Now imagine that PDP has been divided. What are the real chances? Let's forget all these things we see on social media and all the things we see in media. The reality is about numbers. If you follow elections, it's about numbers. Statistics don't lie. It's raw data. And we see the raw data and we know the APC strongholds that have not been weakened. And we know where PDP has been weakened. And where they are weakened, they are fighting bitterly. PDP, Labour, APC stays united. So I'm advocating, I'm advancing an argument that for Nigerians to have two options, that there should be a coalition of PDP, Labour, and other parties against the APC. So Nigerians can then choose, look at the two, and say, should we go with APC for another 4 years, or should we go with these people for the next 4 years? In saying this, I am not in any way subscribe or advance an argument about myself or my party.
So what happened to your supporters? Which direction will you want to go?
So my supporters are Nigerians, and the message I'm giving is to Nigerians. So it's for up to my supporters to make an informed decision and judgment as to which direction they should go to. My advice again to the other parties is that it is important for them to come together in the next 24 hours. Otherwise, in the next 4 or 5 days, they might live to regret not doing what is right.
Any other question, please?
No.
That comes easy. Before I joined ADC, the person I introduced to you as a brother, I didn't know him. The person I called mommy, I didn't know her. Alhaji Ibrahim Manzo that is here, I didn't know him. A lot of people are not considered as family. I didn't know them before I joined the ADC, so I cannot regret those relationships. They are more valuable than my bitter or my negative experience. Will I come back in the next 4 years? I always say this to people, that I have served all my life. I don't have to be president of Nigeria to continue to serve Nigeria. Being in the media space, in my own little space, I can continue to serve and canvass and proffer solutions to Nigerians or to the government. I will continue to speak for the masses of Nigeria. So it's what I've always done, and I'll continue to do it because that's what God has given me grace to do. Thank you. All right. I will hate for you to send this in to your media houses for them to manipulate or twist what I've said out of context. Are we clear? Are you guys hearing me? Tell them I said this, that nobody must take my statements or twist them out of context. I was very, very clear. I made my statements in the best interest of Nigerians. So I don't want anybody to manipulate my statements to suit the candidates of their choice. Thank you.
That's true.
Say what?
That was why we asked specific questions.
Sure, yes. No, it's one thing for you to ask specific questions, another thing for your for. All right, thank you guys. See you after the elections.